What's goody? What's good, y'all? Bring it in. Bring it in. Want everybody to get up in here. It's been a little bit. I be realizing the introductions be a little too long. So, preferably, I like to just jump into the topics, okay? First and foremost, I want to keep that same energy, okay? Because we big on keeping the same energy. A lot of people will act as if either A, what they say can't potentially change if they stand on something, if they have a valid reason to change it, or people just run away from things that they said like they never said it. All right, we not doing neither one of those, so I gotta keep it real with y'all. I gotta keep it 100 with y'all. So, first and foremost, we're gonna get to this fight. Now, I know this is a card channel. We always talk cards, but it's been a minute since I've talked about boxing and fighting on this channel, but this is still something that I do. I still do watch, boxing. I still do keep up with a decent amount of fighters as well in certain divisions. It just depends. But this is just something that we do. We just like sports in general for the most part. Not extreme, but whatever. But I definitely had some comments on Stevenson a couple years ago. And after the fight that he just had with Lopez, which he did what I expected him to do, it left me to revisit this topic just to, once again, like I mentioned, still for the most part stand on the same time that I was on, but also acknowledge, I would say, greatness in a certain way as well, right? Now, mind you, I never said Stevenson wasn't a good fighter. I never said he was trash, none of the above. I just said this right here. Let's check it. This is what I said. Shakur, you're not as good as you say you are, bro. Okay? You're really good, but you're not as good as you say you are, bro. And that goes for anybody defending you as well. Everybody, all I've been hearing, he the best in his division. He'll beat Tank Davis. He'll beat Devin Haney. He'll beat Lomachenko. He'll beat everybody he'll beat everybody. Wash him. He gonna embarrass him. Nobody wants to fight him. Nobody wants to spar with him. I'm like, bro, if that's the result, which is your last fight, if that's what they was talking about right there, bro, none of them guys is really worried about you, bro. Okay, let's play that one more time. Shakur, you're not as good as you say you are, bro. Okay? You're really good, but you're not as good as you say you are, bro. And that goes for anybody defending you as well. Everybody, all I've been hearing, he the best in his division. He'll beat Tank Davis. He'll beat Devin Haney. He'll beat Lomachenko. He'll beat everybody he'll beat everybody. Wash him. He gonna embarrass him. Nobody wants to fight him. Nobody wants to spar with him. I'm like, bro, if that's the result, which is your last fight, if that's what they was talking about right there, bro, none of them guys is really worried about you, bro. Okay. So that is what I mentioned about Stevenson. Now, before I play what he said to pretty much back my claim for the most part, I must say, after his last fight, because we judge you based on what you did previously, not what you did years ago, all right? It is possible for people to get better as years progress, and it is possible for you to, quote-unquote, change your narrative to a degree to have a more, I would say, logical observation on something that you may have spoke on or seen years prior. Things change. That's a fact. Now, with the fight and what he did, I expected him to do that. I expected him to run through him. Why? Because I don't think Lopez was technically on the level that he was as a fighter. Personally, I just don't. Now, of course, this is even blown up bigger because now he unifying a lot of different belts, stuff like that. He's clearing out divisions. Got to give him credit for that. He won't fight his, Keyshawn, quote unquote, best friend in this game technically. So that'll always be a what if, because he's not going to do that. But it left me knowing that at this very moment in time, with everybody in their respectable divisions at their respectable weight classes, right now, I think it makes the most sense from an analyst or from a fan to now put their hands up like, yeah, I told you, yo, he the greatest. Because again, he active right now. He more active than Ryan right now. He more active than Devin right. Well, for the most part, it seems as if he is. But Devin just fought recently too. But at this very moment in time, he do look like one of the best youngins in the game right now. He definitely do. Now, do I still think that he would beat someone like, the people that I mentioned previously in that last video? It's a possibility. And the reason why I say it's a possibility is because this fight not only gave him even more confidence, but his previous fight as well. His last fight definitely gave him more confidence. But it also showed that he's not taking anybody for granted, and he's going in there making adjustments when he needs to. And I won't even necessarily say going in the actual boxing ring with his opponent to make adjustments, but he's more so going into his training camp and making adjustments. So when the fight happens, he's legit, he's good. And that's how it should be. I gotta commend him. And in the same breath, I also have to really look at Lopez's training camp and look at his training team and tell them and be honest with them and say they really didn't come in prepared based on the stature of Lopez versus Shakur, based on the history of how he prepares for these fights, how he moves around the ring, how he lines up his shots, where he gets his best shots from. It seems as though Lopez went in it one directional, said, I'm just going to pressure this man, and I'm going to try to reach him as best as I can and hope for the best, literally. He changed his stance and his strategy maybe once, close to 2 times in that fight, and you could see it when it was happening, but it wasn't nearly enough to even make any difference in the fight. And it's crazy because it's like, I'll be honest, the way Lopez was talking before that fight, it made me feel like, yo, he might be on some Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney type. Like, he might really just appear to the public like he's crashing out, but in reality, he really might be super focused and just ready to knock this man out. Not knock him out, but really ready to, like, prove the world wrong and go crazy and defend his belt. But that really wasn't what it was. And it just goes to show you people's preparation and lack thereof. He went in there lacking completely. And some people say he got humbled, whatever the case may be. But the way I see it is like, if you consider yourself a top fighter, you consider yourself one of the greatest, you can't just go into fights one-dimensional and just think your one style is superior to any boxer on earth. Like, you can't do that. Floyd Mayweather had to make adjustments. Mike Tyson had to make, well, he didn't really make too many adjustments, but, Muhammad Ali had to make adjustments. Like, some of the greats had to make adjustments in fights in real time to come out with a victory. And for him, even Crawford as well, this kind of reminded me of the Errol Spence versus the Crawford fight, just not as extreme, right? In the Crawford versus Spence fight, Spence looked super slow. He looked like he was drained. It didn't look like he was really prepared at all. He was moving in slow motion, and Crawford was just destroying him. With this fight, it just looked like Lopez was tremendously outclassed. Like, why are you even in the same ring with him? You keep hitting your head against this cement wall with meaning your strategy, and you're not doing anything about it. You just sticking to the same move, sticking to the same movement, sticking to the same shots, sticking to the same feints. And it's like, bro, that's not working. Is that all you trained for? Were all of the stuff that you was talking, was that all you trained for? That's crazy to me. Now, on the contrary, looking at how Stevenson prepped and planned for this fight, you got to give him credit because he did make him look average. He did make him look like a rookie damn near, like somebody who's really not on my level. And now, I would argue and say that really wasn't that tough based on the way Lopez approached the fight. But at the same time, I don't want to say that to just completely discredit Stevenson, because I think he did his thing, and I think he showed out, and he should be where he's at this very moment in time in the public eye, I should say, and in the divisions that he's clearing out. Do I think he's the greatest fighter at this moment in time? Not necessarily, but I do think there is potential for him to be that. You look at somebody like a Gervonta Davis, this man just turned himself in. You see what I'm saying? He's going through a lot of issues. His mind is not on boxing. You look at someone like Devin Haney after getting destroyed by Ryan Garcia, that'll always be in the back of his mind. I don't believe he's as good as he thinks he is either, but he could be better. He could be 100% better, like anybody could be at anything, right? But he's still a really good fighter. It's just, I don't know how strong his confidence is to back that up with someone on the level of Ryan Garcia or beyond. You see what I'm saying? When you look at Stevenson, he's pretty much unblemished. He already had his toughest fight already, and everyone hated that because that was actually after that video that I posted there, which I feel like was one of his toughest fights because he had to change his complete strategy, but just the strategy he changed to just was not entertaining. It looked trash, right? But you still got to give credit. Excuse me. You still got to give credit where credit is due, and I still think he answered the call, but I just don't think that was that tough of a competitor. I don't think they really matched up the best going into that fight. A lot of people thought it would be this and thought it would be that, but I personally do believe like Lopez did a great job at bigging up this fight to make it seem like he really found something out. Like, I really thought Lopez had, like, I still thought Shakur was going to walk through him, and he should walk through him, but Lopez really still put a hint of doubt in my mind, like, yo, he might really be on some Ryan Garcia, just straight crash out and just surprise everybody and go crazy. Because I thought Devin Haney would beat Garcia when that happened, and you see how that went down. So I was like kind of having slight second thoughts here and there, like, yo, he seemed focused, he seemed on point, but I'm still in my head, I'm like, I'm going with the logical answer. I'm going with what I really truly think is going to be the issue or the case, and sure enough, that was the case. So I'm not surprised by that at all. But with Shakur, kind of going back to my previous video, this is why, like, I made that video. And this was recent here, but this is just part of the reason why, right?
Stay silent until you hear a better boxer than you. Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Conor Bennett, Devin Haney, Raleigh Romero, Tank Davis, Sebastian Fundora, Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis, Terrence Crawford, Muhammad Ali. Okay?
Okay. Now, based on that man just said he better than Terrence Crawford, he better than Muhammad Ali. He don't think nobody in the world can see him previously or presently. And to me, it is crazy, but at the same time, I got to give him some form of credit because you should feel that way. Like, of course, everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to be the greatest. And you have to be somewhat crazy to believe that. You have to really kind of stand on your own hill and really be on your own wave to not only feel that way, but truly believe it, right? So I give that to him, but like, better than Terrence Crawford, you better than Muhammad Ali in his prime, like, it's just crazy, bro. Like, again, I think he's really good, and I feel like he has an opportunity right now to really take it over. Like, this is the most hype I feel like he's ever had behind his name. I feel like he's at the best place of his career right now, where he can really just take all this confidence right now going forward to like really make a name. Take the names that he maybe questioned in the past, you see what I'm saying? Like, to really do it now and take it to the next level. But will he do that? I mean, he's partially already kind of doing that. So we will see where this run takes him. I'm not a hater by any means. I mean, hey, if you could prove me wrong, prove me wrong. If you end up becoming one of the greatest of all time, like when it's all said and done, when your career's up and, possibly retire, undefeated, all of the above, and you're not running from the big fights, I mean, of course, everybody gonna tip their hat to you. Of course, everybody gonna salute you. I'm gonna salute you, so I think that just comes with the territory of this thing, yes, you are supposed to believe you're the greatest, but can you prove it, And again, he's been proving it in a lot of different ways, but I don't feel this the way he feels about himself, and maybe I'm actually not supposed to, but I do think, like I said, there's a possibility that he could really, really go crazy right now. Will he? I'm not sure. Some people consider this as going super crazy, and that's, they got their argument behind that as well. But again, I just feel like Lopez really didn't go in there prepared. You feel me? He did not go in there prepared, and I think it was a great reason why he lost, because he went in there one-dimensional, and it's just crazy to me. Like that, you can't do that. As a top fighter, you can't do that. But yeah, that's my take on that. So I just wanted to let y'all know, it's not like we completely switching, but we will give respect when respect is due, when credit is earned. And again, I think Stevenson had a great fight. I think Lopez came out one-dimensional, and his strategy was terrible from the jump. And I believe that Stevenson has a great opportunity in front of him to really be the person who he says he is and who some of his fans think he is. I don't think he's still there yet, but he's getting there. And we shall see where the future holds for him and what he plans on doing. But let's move on. So, now we come to the main topic. Now, I know a lot of y'all may not care too much about electric cars, stuff like that. But I feel like this is a little bigger than just electric cars. This is more so not only a complete automotive change, but also like a complete life change as far as technology goes, right? So, Elon Musk says Tesla is ending the Model S and X production, converting Fremont factory lines to make Optimus robots. So, if you didn't see this coming, you probably wasn't paying attention. I did see this coming, not trying to sound like the Oracle or nothing like that, but it was just blatant to see, like some people have already spoken on. The Model S and the Model X have just been getting the least amount of love as the years have continuously progressed. I feel like they really made their last hoorah with those vehicles after they made the plaid versions. Once they made the plaids, they was like, okay, we're good. We did everything we wanted to do with these platforms, and we're good now, And sure enough, after that, it just seems as though they spent way more time on what sells, which is the Model 3 and the Model Y. If you want to be logical behind it, of course, that made the most sense. You got to give them credit for that because, I mean, you go with what makes money. You don't go with what you like, but that don't make money. See what I'm saying? So that's what they did. Sure enough, it hasn't happened yet, but them Cybertrucks will be discontinued very shortly as well. Don't know when exactly, but that's definitely next on the list. They will not last. Those were a complete failure if you really want to judge by the numbers and judge by what they was anticipating those trucks to do. They didn't do nothing close to that. So my heart goes out to the people who actually bought those brand new. retail, because that's tough. That's real tough. You taking a supreme L, and you've taken or took a supreme L. And for the people who are still stuck in those cars, like I said, I feel for you. I understand that you thought the market would be different, and unfortunately it wasn't. And all I can hope is that you got a good deal going in on that truck, because yeah, it's sad right now. But that does open up an opportunity, though, for a lot of people to start getting these cars now, right? And I only say that because you could look at it in two ways. You could say, the Model S and the Model X in the future is probably going to be a headache to keep up with, because Tesla doesn't really take them as serious as Model 3s and Model Ys. And of course, there's more things that could potentially go wrong with those cars comparison to the 3 and Y versions. So you could look at it that way and say, you know what, maybe let's stay away from those cars because they're really not spending too much time on them, and they're just liable to break sooner than later. Or you can say, you know what, those cars should be able to now find a floor in the market, and we should now be able to gauge how much those cars are really worth and make a decision based on that. So hopefully those cars do find a floor, and they don't continuously tank and have people who purchase brand new Model S's and Model X's, and maybe where they can look back and be like, you know what, maybe I feel good about my purchase, comparison to like, wow, I was robbed more than half of the value of my car, and now I'm going outside sad. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't really want that to be the situation, but there is a possibility. Which side will we be on more? I'm not quite sure. I think it's going to be a little bit in the middle, because I do think unless they let some of the Chinese developers come out here with their electric cars, or Lucid doesn't go super crazy and make not only the sedan like the Sapphire, but if they continuously come out with sedans and like they big SUV as well on a higher level than Tesla, then that's when you could say the value of them X's and S's are going to continue to tank, and it's going to be terrible. But if they kind of plateau too, and they're never really fully able to match, I would say, Tesla's ecosystem as far as their software goes, then I feel as though that 100% could mean that those cars find a floor, and they should be good there. And you could start having some confidence behind what you purchased and know, if I keep this a couple more years and maybe sought after, some people might want to pay some money for it. But it's up in the air, y'all. You already know electric cars really don't hold their value like they should, which is kind of crazy as well, just because it's pretty much like a phone. Although you can have an older phone, that phone can still be updated with the latest stuff. Now, once that goes out, then absolutely, I understand that value could drop. But as long as your car can be updated with the latest software and technology, I feel as though at least up to that point, the value shouldn't drop too much. But, that's just my opinion. The market doesn't technically see it that way. But it is what it is. So, again, now we know Elon Musk and Tesla is going full time on these Optimus robots. Okay, let's get into it a little more. It's time to basically bring the Model S and X programs to an end with an honorable discharge, Musk said on the company's fourth quarter earnings. If you're interested in buying a Model S and X, now would be the time to order it. After original Roadster, the two models are Tesla's oldest vehicles, and in recent years, the company has slashed prices as global competition for electric vehicles has soared. Tesla started selling the Model S sedan in 2012 and the Model X SUV 3 years later. On Tesla's website, the Model S currently starts at about $95,000, while the Model X starts at around $100,000. Now, quick point. I wouldn't say buy new unless you want everything that them warranties come with. From that standpoint, it make perfect sense. But other than that, unless you just wanted the experience to purchase a brand new Model S and Model X, which to me is like, okay, whatever. If you want that experience, go ahead and do your thing. But if not, I would say go ahead and get you a second hand. See what that do. As long as they kept up with it, that car should last a while. But to pay $95,000 to $100,000 for a Model X or Model S, to me personally, it's still crazy, because you already know, like we mentioned before, the value of that car is not gonna hold up nearly as much as you would like it to. So why buy new just because it's going out of style and it's not gonna be around anymore? But that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what you think. Tesla's far more popular models are the 3 and the Y, which accounted for 97% of the company's 1.59 million deliveries last year. That's pretty huge. The Model 3 now starts at about $37,000, and the Model Y is around $40,000. Tesla debuted more affordable versions of the vehicles late last year, which was smart. Like I mentioned, they spending more time over there. In its earnings announcements on Wednesday, Tesla reported its first annual revenue decline on record, with sales falling in 3 of the past 4 quarters. Musk has been trying to turn attention away from traditional EVs and toward a future of driverless cars and humanoid robots, areas where the company currently has virtually no business. Tesla is developing Optimus with the aim of someday selling it as a bipedal intelligent robot capable of everything from factory work to babysitting. Crazy. The company said in its release that it plans to unveil the 3rd generation of Optimus this quarter, its first design meant for mass production. Musk said on the call that Tesla is replacing its production line for S and X in Fremont with a 1 million unit per year line of Optimus, because it is completely new supply chain. It is a completely new supply chain, Musk said. There's really nothing from the existing supply chain that exists in Optimus. Tesla expects to boost headcount at the Fremont facility and to significantly increase its output. So that's pretty big, y'all. That's pretty big, and I think that that could be huge. And I feel as though, like, up to this point, a lot of people thought that, including myself, a lot of people thought that, we would have flying cars by now, yeah. Like, what are we doing on the ground right now? Why are we still driving on the street? We should be up in the air somewhere. But as you mentally are here, you like, we so far away from that. Like, how could I have thought that 10, 20 years ago? But this does seem like where technology is going. Whether it's unfortunate or whether it's an opportunity, it is like you kind of have no other choice but to be skeptical about it. Because you mean to tell me I got a robot in my crib that could babysit? Okay. And you telling me I got a car that can drive without me and pick me up anytime I wanted to and take me to my destination? But I put all the trust in that robot's hands and that car's hands. That to me is not only risky, but it's a little crazy. And the reason why I feel like it's crazy is because, as we see today, we got ChatGPT. All ChatGPT is a software that literally learns on the fly based on the questions that you ask it, and it just gets smarter, more accurate, more direct, and it's able to pretty much communicate with you more and more like a regular human would be, based on how much time you spend with it. And for you to do that with something that is not a human, something that is a machine, machines are prone to fail. Machines are prone to have systems be overridden by spam and bad mail and be hacked, stuff like that, right? So who's to say if you are in a situation like that and you super pro technology and you super, yo, I want robots in the crib and I want a car that drives itself and I want all of that. Who's to say that when you do have something like that, maybe one thing leads to another? Maybe somebody behind the development of those pieces of equipment feel some type of way about maybe you, maybe about your fam. Maybe someone on the outside feels a certain way about the people who run that company in the first place and decide to get into the system and shake some things up. Who's to say that can't happen? And if it does happen, who's to say that it can't be catastrophic? You see what I'm saying? That's always gonna be a thought. I feel like going that direction with having things like that around, you know? And we already have that to a lot of different degrees already, as far as the equipment we put around our homes, cell phones, all of the above. We already have things like that. It's just more so, how much do you trust these things, and how much do you trust, I would say, putting more and more of, I would say, things that you do, priorities of importance. How much trust do you have to put more of those things in those things' hands? You know, it's just crazy. It's risky. It's crazy. I'm not a super fan of it, but I understand it. Okay, I'm not the person on the outside looking at it like, oh, we can't have technology. We should go back to the old days and it should be like this and should be like that. Like, nah, we passed that point already. Okay, technology is going to continue to rise. Things are going to continue to develop and become more and more, I would say, innovative going forward in the future. So we could never just sit still and just be satisfied. No one can. You know, as time progresses, everybody wants to get better. Things want to be improved. So we see that. It's just, how can we have the most control over our lives if we do partake in something like that? That's the question that I personally have. But we shall see when the time comes. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the whole robot situation. Do you think that Tesla should say screw it and just try to reshape the X and the Y? Or do you think we should just take a leap of faith into new era technology and have robots in the crib and cars driving us by themselves? Like, without a driver, like, at all. You let me know on that. Now, they also did mention the Tesla Roadster, right? I personally feel like this is a great opportunity for Tesla to come out with the Roadster. Will they do it? I do not believe so. I just think they kind of dropped the ball on this. Okay, they kind of dropped the ball on this. I got to shout out Rimac, because I think Rimac did what Tesla or the Tesla Roadster was supposed to do. It just did it beforehand. So you see what this look like. I don't know if you know too much about the Rimac, but I'm gonna show y'all real quick. This is the Tesla Roadster. I think it look good. I really do. But the Rimac, pretty much, the Navera, this did what we thought the Tesla would do. Straight up. It did what we thought the Tesla would do. And it beat it at its own game. And this is what we left with. So personally, I feel like if Tesla can't come out the gate and have something better than this, you might as well just give it up. Straight up. Just give it up. If you can't compete with this car and beat it, obviously you need to just bow out respectfully. Do your thing with robots, you see what I'm saying, and autonomous driving, and don't try to play in the supercar market. Just don't do it. You did a great job with the Model S. You took a lot of people by storm. You took the industry and the car market by storm. But when you start trying to get to that hypercar realm, like this car is in, if you're not gonna come out the gate and be better than this, don't even do it. Don't even do it. You better off just telling the people like, look, we did have plans with the Roadster, but our thoughts and ideas changed, and we decided to go a different route and put our fingerprints on a different piece of technology that doesn't involve cars as much. And personally, I think that is where they're going. I think we will have that conversation, and we will see that interview take place sooner than later. But like I mentioned, if you're not going to have a car better than this right here, look at this. 2,107 horsepower. Okay. 0 to 60 in 1.6 seconds. All right. Top speed, 430 kilometers. What is that in miles per hour? Let's see. $267 miles per hour. All right. So if you're not doing that, respectfully, bow out. It's all good. You did your thing. You don't got to be the best at this, all right? There's already people doing their thing over here. So, yeah, that's my thought. Hopefully Tesla, possibly surprises us. Maybe they jump out the window and say, no, we do believe we can have a better supercar than this or hypercar than this, and we're going to do it, and we're going to prove it. We're going to show it. We shall see, but I'll just say, don't waste your money, because I don't see you jumping out the gate on this level. I just don't see it. But that's just my opinion, y'all. Y'all get in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all think about that. But personally, I don't see it. I do not see it. All right. Other than that, not my fault. Let's come here. Oh, my fault. Not the market. My bad. Let's come here. Let's just double check really quick. Oh yeah, the car market. So we can talk about the car market as well, y'all. I believe, well, first and foremost, like, y'all let me know, like, what does it look like where you at right now? Personally, I'm on the East Coast in NC, North Carolina, so the weather out here is crazy. It's snow everywhere. There ain't no going up the street real quick to go grab something unless you got not only an all-wheel drive vehicle, but preferably an SUV, because it snowed out here pretty heavy. Heavier than it's ever have in over 25 years, which is crazy off rip. So other than that happening, I feel as though the car market has been picking up earlier than at least I would expect, okay? January so far for me, just selling, has been one of the greatest months I've had ever, which is a good thing. We plan to continue that wave though, going way beyond or way deeper into the year. But I do think that the market is changing, in some ways good, in some ways bad. Carvana, I heard they pretty much is getting out the race as far as how they sell vehicles. So that's almost a step in one direction to say we're not as close to getting rid of car dealers and car salesmen as we once thought. Tesla has done it very successfully up to this point where you could just go on the site, get your car, get out of there, and you good. You see what I'm saying? So you do have that, but a lot of people really don't like that experience, which is part of the reason why I go as hard as I do, because I'm not trying to take advantage of you. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to put you in something that you feel as though you want to get in, or you didn't know that you should be in based on your lifestyle. Okay, that's kind of how I look at it. I want to solve a problem. If I can solve a problem that you have with your vehicle, then that's what I'm gonna put you in. I ain't gonna put you in whatever just makes money. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put you in what makes the most sense. That's just how I look at it. I know not every dealer looks at it that way, which is why a lot of people have bad negative experiences with a lot of different companies, with a lot of different dealerships based on that. But again, every apple from the tree of BS apples ain't gonna always be bad. You know what I'm saying? It sounds kind of crazy, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think going forward, once this weather does correct itself, I feel as though this year should be a better year than last year. And I believe more and more banks are opening up. They're getting a little more loose with how they're giving people money. I've had certain scenarios where somebody came in with like a high 400 credit range, something along those lines, and we was able to get something done. Now, mind you, we weren't able to get something done just initially on the first call. It took some time, but the fact of the matter is it took enough time where they said, you know what, we will take a leap out of faith on this, and we will put these people in this car. Now, whether you attest that to be a bad thing or a good thing going forward, that's up to you. But what you got to realize and understand is we're at a point where banks can't just stand still. They can't just say, you know what, based on your credit, based on our current situation, we're not going to loan to you people. Because we feel as though if it's like a subprime credit person, we just feel it's like you're not going to pay. We feel like it's going to be another repo. We feel like you playing with us. You might be scamming us. And although that's happened a lot in the past, you can't conduct your full business on that type of time and expect to have any more success than what you've already had in the past, because now you just flat-footed. You know, you just sitting still. And that's not going to be the way to change things, you know. And of course, there's a whole bunch of things when it comes to politics going on that does affect a lot of, I would say, the industry of just the car market as a whole. But I say all that to say I do believe this year there's more positives going behind the fact of people having a little more opportunities to get into a little more cars than they did in the past possibly, let's just say 2 years, to be safe, right? So I think it's a decent time still to buy a car. I think you could definitely find great deals in certain areas, certain places. I think that if you start to really know how these banks are operating right now, and when I say that, I mean as far as I had to tell somebody that, 0% interest on a lot of these cars, even if you got a 700-800 credit score, that's just not that realistic right now. Now, yeah, you may find very, very, very few deals that can possibly do that, but we're being so far removed from that time, from that era where things like that just they don't happen like that anymore. And it has nothing to do with the people who have great credit. It has everything to do with their past trauma of what's happened in the car market and where they had to make adjustments to avoid going down that path again to be affected negatively going forward. There's still thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people getting their cars repoed. Matter of fact, we could check to see what that looked like. Hold on. So like, peep this. Car repossessions have surged to over 2.2 million in 2025, reaching levels not seen since the 2008, very important, 2008 financial crisis, driven by high vehicle prices, interest rates, and inflation. This repo surge is creating a flooded buyer beware market for used cars while offering 25 to 40% discounts. These vehicles often have hidden mechanical cosmetic damage. So just to talk about this really quick, what you got to understand is a lot of these car repossessions are taking place because, one, they dealt with a shady dealer who put everything they had into that car. They hit them over the head because they knew they needed it at a time that they was desperate and definitely took advantage of them. Two, people scamming the market and getting a car that they should have never had or had any business being able to get because they scam. 3, having someone still get in the car because it was easy to get in the car, but they knew they still technically couldn't afford it, and now they're just at their wits' end and they can't do anything about it. And I don't really think there's even a 4th reason, honestly. Those are really the top 3 reasons as to why this is happening now. And you got to understand the economy based on what people are being paid right now for the jobs that they're jumping into to do, based on the cost of living. It's tough, okay? It's tough. And the unfortunate part is a lot of people look at most of these people out of the 2.2 million as just super irresponsible. And although that is definitely partially true, there's some truth to that. Let's just say that. It's still not, it doesn't tell the full story. And there's still a lot of scenarios and situations in there where people are working daily, clocking in overtime, still having to pay these other bills where certain bills are going up, certain mortgages is going up, rent's going up in certain areas and certain places. So it's like, but their job is not, the money that they're getting paid yearly is not, so there is definitely a conflict of interest as far as these jobs based on what they're willing to pay these people for the time that they're putting in comparison to just this economy and people's responsibilities of them falling behind what they could potentially do and what they could potentially pay, and it's unfortunate because one of these things are going to have to change. And as you see now, like I mentioned, car repos is at an all-time high, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's good for the banks. That doesn't mean that it's good for the dealers. That don't even fully mean that it's good for the buyer who wants a car. This is something that has to be fixed for everybody. Everybody plays a part in this, and everybody has, I would say, like equity within everything that does happen. Like this can affect everyone in different ways, right? Like I mentioned, you can be an 850 credit score and still not have the opportunity that you had to jump in a car that you had 5 years ago. And the same goes for someone who has a 400 credit score. You see what I'm saying? So this is just something that has to happen. It does have to fix itself. But once again, I definitely stand firm in saying that this year, 2026, is going to be a better year to buy a vehicle than 2025 was and 2024 was, even 2023. I think you would have a better chance to get a car, to get great deals to jump in the car, especially electric cars as well, because there's a lot of incentives that they're throwing. Although the tax incentive, that $7,500 EV credit is not there, there is still other things that you can use to jump into these cars. You see what I'm saying? And I think that is beneficial if that's the direction that you want to take it. But other than that, it's like you really just got to keep an eye on everything. You got to keep an eye out on the market. There's a lot of opportunities to buy wholesale. There's a lot of opportunities to get a lot of different perks from certain dealerships based on the banks that you're dealing with, based on what as far as taxes go, and what as far as certain loan and lease deals go. There's always going to be money on the table that you can technically pick up to now add on to your specific car deal to get the best deal that you can get. So don't feel like, the car market trash, I can't get nothing, the money like this and like that. Like, this ain't a time for that. This is definitely a good time for you to buy. Even still, you just got to make sure there's certainty behind what you do for a job, and there's certainty behind what you plan to do going forward to potentially either keep this car up to date and like on point where you're not messing it up, like you're not jumping in a car that's unreliable, and you're jumping into something that's going to take care of you going forward, because it's definitely a time where you can really hit the ground running and have success in this realm. You feel me? If you play your cards right. Speaking of playing cards right, I feel like Honda played their cards wrong with the Honda Prelude. I did just recently review it. I haven't dropped a little video yet. I will drop the video probably between today or tomorrow. I drove the Prelude. Not like super hard or anything like that. You know, I just did my little basic review on the car. And I do believe that they created a new segment, y'all. Honda has created a new market. They've created a new segment of a car based on what you're looking for. So this is by far, to me, the first economy sports car. If you were jumping in the market and said, I want an economy sports car. Now, you could argue the Mazda Miata could potentially be in it. You could argue that the Subaru BRZ could be in it. You know, the Toyota FRS. You know, you could, they got the GR86 now. I believe that's what it's called. Like, you could argue those cars are in it, which technically they are, but they're not as, I would say, luxury focused as this car is right here. This is like an economy luxury sports car. And that sounds kind of crazy. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, this does come with Type R suspension, but it's still it still shares the same drivetrain pretty much as a hybrid Civic. So it's not as fast as it should be, but it's not as boring as it could be. Okay? The car seems refined. It seems relatively expensive. Maybe not as expensive as they're trying to ask for it, but it seems relatively expensive. The car is way wider than I thought it would be. So it definitely has like a good center of gravity, at least it seems like, because it's covering a lot of ground just based on how wide the car is. And you know, other than that, it looks good. When you switch it to dynamic mode and you could actually hear the gears shifting, like, yeah, it's a little inflated by the speakers, but it still sounds like, okay, like it's an enticing sound. It makes you want a little more of it. You want to really push it to hear that even more. Like, it just sounds like, okay, I'm getting the most from this engine possibly. So it's definitely more exciting than a Civic Hybrid. And you know the Civic Hybrids are great cars up to this day. You feel me? Like, very great cars. But again, it's just, I think if this car was super tunable, that would be huge for it. Do I think it is? No. But this is, again, a car that someone is going to have to jump in based on their wants and needs, which has never been really done before, which is, y'all want an economy luxury sports car. Like, that's what you got to go in with it. If you want an economy luxury sports car, look no further. The Honda Prelude is going to be there, and you going to enjoy it. You feel me? You going to enjoy it. You should love it. But other than that, if you're looking for something super raw, you're not going to get it here. If you're looking for something super fast, you're not going to get it here. If you're looking for something that can handle amazingly, you're not even going to, like, I wouldn't say you're going to get that, but it handles decently from what I had from it, but I really wasn't able to push it that hard to really know for sure. But from things that I've seen as well, you know, people kind of feel the same way that I feel when I get behind it, feeling the steering feel and all of that. It's not super tremendous, but I do believe it is a good car. I do believe it will be a reliable car. I think this is going to be something that if you do jump on it, and let's say you do spend top dollar up front, which I would not do, but if you do it, I would say that you could at least know going forward that you're not going to spend too much money keeping this car up, because it will be reliable. It will take care of you. And pretty much the way that it's tuned, it's not tuned to a point where it's just going to burn through everything so quickly where you're going to be at the shop every chance that you get trying to fix it, trying to work on it. You know, I don't think it's one of those. I think it's definitely something that should allow you to really have your fun, still be efficient, still save money going forward, not worry about it being a gas guzzler, you know, and still just be able to be like, okay, yeah, like I could do my thing with that and have some fun in it, but also save money. You know, it makes sense from that standpoint. But the oxymoron of it is usually people don't jump in a sports car to be economy friendly. Usually people don't jump in a sports car to put regular gas in it and just be able to use it as a car to get to point A to point B. You know, they usually jump in that car because it's a weekend car. They jump in that car because they can have a lot of fun with it. They can do a lot of different things with it. They can tune it. They can hook it up and make it even better than what it is, you know. So usually that's what follows with sports cars and enthusiast cars. And I don't think that this is what that is. So we shall see what it turns into. And I mean, I'm rooting for, I wouldn't say this car in general, but just Honda in general. You feel me? I think they did drop the ball and lost a perfect opportunity to bring back a more efficient 2-liter turbo engine for this car that they had put in the Accord in the past. I think this could have definitely did numbers. Definitely could have been, like, for example, they could have came with the 2-liter turbo, mixed with the hybrid, got even more power behind it. Still could have been auto, but if you wanted to go manual, I don't think this car would have came in manual right now. People are getting away from that, so I don't expect that. But if you would have added the hybrid assistance to the 2-liter motor to make it a little more efficient, but also faster at the same time, pushing around maybe 350 to 60 horsepower, I think this car would have been home run, killing them. I think you would have did your thing. I think everybody would have been talking and preaching Honda, you feel me? I think everybody would have been like, yo, blown away. Like, this is what we need. And that would have been cool, but of course on Honda's side, they're looking at it like the Prelude was never that. And of course it was never that. But if you're going to put a name behind something that had a lot going for it in the past, make it be able to be an enthusiast car of the future. Make it be something that where people look at it and say, yo, I want that, because it's a budget car that I could jump in and have tremendous fun with, and I could always compete with my competitors. This car right here, although it's technically in its own segment and class, at the highest point, can it really compete with its competitors? I don't necessarily think so. They could have at least just made this rear-wheel drive. At least. You feel me? At least. Got one of my people in here, they said show support and say Teofimo got what he deserved from being a loudmouth. I agree. I mean, like I said, more than anything, bro, I'm just more disappointed in the preparation. I'm disappointed in the preparation. Like, the fact that that's what you thought was going to beat Shakur Stevenson, to me, that's just disrespectful in itself. You feel me? If you want to be a top fighter and you jump in this game and you really want to beat the people at the top, you went in with a one-dimensional plan. Like, to me, that don't make no sense. You feel me? But, yeah, I feel you on that. But, yeah, man, as far as the Prelude, I think it is a good car. I think it could be a great car in the future, possibly with certain tweaks here and there. Will Honda make them tweaks? I doubt it. I just think they're getting further and further away from the sports car realm. And the money that they're using to create these cars, they're trying to get it on the back end and hit people over the head. And them doing so is pretty much taking them out of this segment. It's taking them out of the race in general, because there's a lot of people doing more with less. And there's a lot of people doing more with more as well. You feel me? So it's like, you kind of got to get in where you fit in. And where you at right now isn't the best place to fit in, because you kind of looking a little crazy right now. You know, the price of this car, we don't want to talk about it, okay? Especially when you add the add-ons and all that stuff to it. It's like, bro, who paying for that? You feel me? Who really doing that? But we shall see. Hopefully Honda proved me wrong. Maybe it turns into a huge success. You never know. But yeah, I'm skeptical on that. But that's just my point of view. Yeah, man, that was the live for the day. We should be tuning back in next week, hopefully. I know I always say that, and it's kind of like we be slacking sometimes, but you know, life be life, and sometimes, you feel me? You gotta bear with me. I'm gonna try to get with y'all whenever I can, you feel me? But I am gonna drop that little video that I got on the Prelude for sure. I got a lot of videos in the cut, different just, car dealer stuff, you feel me, moving cars, talking about different cars, stuff like that. Got a lot of those in the cut. Other than that, y'all let me know too if you want me to talk more about boxing as well, because, I'm somebody, bro, like, I just like what I like, you feel me? I love cars, I love fitness, you feel me? I don't want to say I love fighting, but I kind of do. You feel me? I love fighting. I love the art of it. You feel me? I love the art of fighting. I love to see how people prepare and when people are talking that talk, I love to see them back that talk. You feel me? And if they don't back that talk, I like to see how they went into that version of their own war and see what they tried to do. Like, for example, real quick, someone that I got like the utmost respect for based on their heart, their determination, even though they not the greatest fighter, is someone like a Caleb Plant. That man is not afraid. He'll jump in there with anybody and he's going to give it all he got. And he's going to try to work on the strategy. And even if that strategy doesn't pan out, he's still going to show up, still do what he need to do and give it his all. You feel me? If he go out, he going out. See what I'm saying? So like somebody like that, that's something that I respect highly. You feel me? So somebody just going in there one-dimensional, one-sided, and really just disrespecting someone's whole preparation process because they just think they're that much better than them, that's crazy to me. You feel me? That shows me like you're not really cut from that cloth to just go into war. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to be prepared for anything and everything. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's just my point of view on that. But like I mentioned before, if y'all want me to cover more fights, stuff like that, y'all let me know. Get in the comment section below. Also, if y'all want me to cover more fitness as well, get in the comment section below. Let me know as well. But other than that, that's the video today. If you like this video, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, and just like that, I'm out of here. Peace.